Next item is discussion on revisions to candidates' background procedures and entry-level testing. Chief?
Yeah, so you had asked us to, well, we had already started, but obviously you had also asked us to review our background process and see where we could improve things. So we took a look at that. We had a working group that met last week with the supervisors that oversee the background investigators along with training, and myself and the two deputy chiefs. And we went over our whole process. And what we did see is that while our process is pretty standard with what's done across the state, there are things that I thought, or we thought we could do to improve that. So basically, I'm just going to go through a few checklist kind of thing of what we talked about and what we're looking to do. We're reviewing the entire checklist that we use. The investigators use a checklist to hit different areas that we want them to look at. So we're going through that. We're going to update that checklist. We had some good ideas that were raised to add that, such as checking for maiden names, which has not been done. We're also going to be instituting using PACER, which is an online system that checks for civil suits, federal civil suits that are not maybe public or not reported on, but this PACER system will allow us to run people's names through there and see if there's any suits that are pending. We're also going to have our investigators review if there is previous contacts that an officer, well, this is for laterals primarily, has with their previous agency regarding any IA investigations, even if they were exonerated or cleared. We want them to get copies, if possible, of all that information so we can review it ourselves. We're also going to be instituting, or we're getting a final quote now, but a software program, which is an online tracking system, which will allow the entire background process to be tracked online in real time, which will allow myself, the two deputies, and the commission full access to all the information at any given time. And to go along with that, what we're looking to do is to add a commissioner's interview as the last step of the process, where you'd have access to the entire background portfolio online. And if there's any particular information in there that you see that maybe we didn't specifically point out to you, then you'll be able to do that as well, and then question the candidates more specifically on any information. One other thing we're gonna add to our system, the way it works now is myself and the deputies interview all candidates, whether they're lateral or not, prior to bringing them forth to the commission. We're going to be adding a questionnaire, a pre-questionnaire that we'll give to the candidates to ask them a variety of questions that we're allowed to ask before giving them a conditional offer of employment. There's certain questions we can't ask until we actually give a formal offer. But prior to that, we have developed a series of questions we're going to be asking them to complete as a starting point when we first interview the candidate that comes in. And then we can then be better able to vet any specific information that they provide, specifically to any high profile incidents they were involved in, any firearm discharges, if they were witness to any high profile incidents, are they the subject of any civil suits? Have they been a subject to a previous civil suit? Any investigations involving the state police or the state's attorney or prior? If they've applied to other departments or been refused by other departments. Again, some of this comes up in the polygraph, but we want to try to get that ahead of time and try to vet that with the candidates right up front. That's just some of the things we're going to be doing. We're also looking at all our people are trained in doing backgrounds, but we're going to be sending them to new training. There's a course that's being offered in the coming a month or two. And we're going to try to get all our background investigators to that updated refresher course on conducting background investigations. I think that's it. Deputy Chief Zecker or Wallace, do you have anything that I missed or anything you want to add to that?
I think you pretty much covered most of it. In terms of our entry level, we may be looking at a little bit different way of potentially doing our testing in the first place as well. And in
Oh yeah,
addition
I'm sorry.
to-
I meant to talk about that. So what we have been doing since, as far as I can remember, is we've always done our own testing.
Written test.
Oh yeah, written test. And obviously that's a big process. So we basically were doing it every 2 years. And what we found that there are a lot of individuals that may contact us that are interested in the department, but if we just gave a test and they happen to miss it, it could be 2 years before they have another opportunity. So what we're going to do is what a lot of agencies in the state have done is they're going to the Connecticut Police Chiefs Association. They are doing or coordinating testing around the state on an ongoing basis. So we basically can then recruit year round as opposed to just for one particular test. And that way we'd have a lot more opportunity for a lot more candidates and hopefully more local candidates, because we have lost a few local candidates that went to other departments because we weren't testing at the time. So this will allow anyone interested in our agency pretty much to take the test within a month or so. And if they check off the box that they're interested in Norwalk, we'd be notified, and then we could reach out to interview, preliminary interview. We'd have to figure out how we would handle that with the panel, because as Commissioner Collier Clemens knows, she has been sitting on the screening panel for a number of years. We'll have to figure out how best to handle that. But I think it'll make it easier on the panel as opposed to interviewing 60 candidates in a week. You may only have to interview 3 or 4 a month or something like that. So we can do, I think, a more in-depth interview as well without taking up a lot of time with the individuals that volunteer to be on that panel. So I think overall, I think it's going to be a better system, give us a more wide range of candidates, and then be able to recruit on an ongoing basis as well for the entry-level candidates.
Okay, well, thank you, Chief, for that update. Commissioners, any comments or questions?
Well, I think that she touched on a lot of important aspects, and I think that it all sounds like really good changes. I like that it seems like we're going to be streamlining things and everything. So I think that's going to be helpful to everybody involved, get some of the information up front instead of, waiting until further along in the process. And I definitely think that, putting us on the state system for testing is really helpful. I know, personally, my son is applying to different departments and he wants to be in Norwalk, but, the testing isn't open now. So he's going for where testing is open. So I think that to have the ability to, we're losing a lot of local talent, to have the ability to do that on an ongoing basis, I think would be great. And to, the Chief pointed out, to lighten the load for the interview board, to be able to have them on a more regular basis instead of having so many all in one shot, I think would be great. And I think, it seems like there's going to continuously be a need for officers and everything, for a variety of different reasons, including people that are regularly retiring and everything. So I think to just to make it so that we have accessibility to the best pool of candidates possible at all times is going to be really helpful and put us, on a really good footing. So great work for all the things that you guys have been exploring in the last, recent past here and everything. And that sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Collier Clemens?
Yes, I think in addition to reviewing the manual, updating the police manual, this comes at a really good time. And these items that I jotted down that you mentioned that are going to be put in place, I think are excellent additions to what we've already been doing, and also changing some of the little outdated ways in which we do background checks, and having everyone who's involved in it apprised of the changes and and keeping them updated. So I think that we're on the right road to fill in some gaps that we may not have been aware that we needed to look at. So thank you so much for that think tank.
Thank you.